me, Emmy, with another episode of Paint Chronicles. So today I'm going to tell you a little story about how I got the opportunity to be a little bit of a teacher for a bit. I'm not really one to be able to teach people things. I tend to be pretty reserved, pretty quiet when it comes to speaking in front of people, but I also kind of enjoy it. It's weird. Toward the beginning of the year in 2016, I graduated from Tribeca Flashpoint with my animation sciences degree. This is my little hat saying we'll fix it in post. Little joke for those of you who don't really know much about VFX, but that phrase is kind of the death sentence for VFX artists. We'll fix it in post. Oh, we messed something up in the shot? Oh, just have the VFX guys fix it. And it creates a lot of work and a lot of problems. So it's kind of a funny phrase, and my class of maybe 11 people all decided that we were going to write that on our hats for our graduation day. I also got to show off my 3D model of a guitar that I created in one of my final modeling classes. That was a fun project. I modeled it in Maya, doing all the textures and the shaders and the lighting, and then the render was beautiful. I got a pretty good grade. And can I tell you how much I just love Chicago? That city is so beautiful and so amazing, and I have such fond memories of just exploring that city. It got me out of my comfort zone of my small town and gave me something really fun to explore. But anyway, back to the story. After I graduated, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I had planned on coming back the following year to maybe try to get my bachelor's degree. That didn't work out, but again, that's another story for another time. But toward the end of my year of graduating, one of my instructors asked if I'd be interested in teaching a summer class for kids that were interested in perhaps pursuing a career in 3D art, 3D animation, 3D modeling, all the stuff I pretty much just learned about in college. And although I wasn't really, again, very much of a teacher persona, I was really excited to kind of see what these kids could do, see what their potential was that they could reach in just a week's time. I think I taught around 12 or 13 students per week, and I taught for 3 weeks. It was just this cute little summer camp, and it was really fun. So my first day, I had some technical issues on how to get my computer connected to the projector. Oh my goodness. Those projectors were so finicky. I didn't have a Mac computer, so it was a little bit of a struggle to get it to connect with my PC. But once it did, I took off a rollin'. Let me tell you, the kids who were very interested in that subject really picked up on what I was putting out there. And let me just be clear, it was not exactly the simplest 3D stuff that I was showing them. I was shocked at how much they picked up in just a week. When I was their age, there was no way I had the knowledge that they did. Of course, they had taken classes in Photoshop, and that was just something that my high school did not offer when I was a teenager. I grew up in the 90s, guys. High school, early 2000s. The internet was not really a thing until I graduated, so I'm a dinosaur. But anyway, it was such a cool experience to get to show these kids what to do. We modeled an underwater seascape kind of thing. We had seaweed in there that we modeled and textured and even animated to kind of wave in the ocean. I even learned a couple of things while teaching them. We also modeled spaceships and animated those on a curve. When you're animating, you get to work in the graph editor in Maya, and the graph editor is more of the technical aspect of what animation actually is and what it does. It's super hard to explain because I don't have any visuals to show you, but basically you're saying, I want this object to go from point A to point B, and this is how fast I want it to happen. This is the rate of speed. Like, I want it to start out slow and get faster, or I want it to start out fast and get slower. Again, there's just so much more to it than what I can just say to you. We had the spaceship that we modeled, and it flew around. I think that was the funnest project that we worked on. All of the students seemed to really enjoy that one too. I think we had a third project that we did, but I can't remember what that was. I taught them how to use lighting. I taught them how to render. It was basically a crash course of the last 2 years that I had spent learning all of these things, and they all picked it up so much faster than I did in the first year that I was there. I remember opening up Maya and being completely overwhelmed with all of the little nifty gadgets and buttons and things that you had to press. Just understanding the basics of it was so incredible of a mountain to climb. I spent hours after school just studying and studying and studying this program until I got it down. These kids picked it up in a week. Jesus. There were, of course, a couple of stragglers who I kind of think were just there because mommy and daddy said, let's go here and see if you're interested. But even the ones who weren't as interested picked up really quickly. I was just shocked. The youth today, they are the future. Quite literally. But that first day I was so nervous and so excited. By the end of it, I actually took a picture of myself in like kind of a victory lap sort of sense. And as you can see here, it's hard to describe the excitement that I felt reaching the end of that day. Not only was it a personal accomplishment for me just to be able to teach students how to do something that was fairly complex, but it was just so cool to get to experience what kids these days are actually doing and what they're capable of doing. For me, that was really fascinating. All that being said, I've considered doing some painting tutorials on here, watercolor of course. If that's something that you think you'll be interested in, please let me know down in the comments below. It would be a completely new series. I would take suggestions or requests. I think it would just be really fun to put out some tutorials that would be unique to me and maybe in turn help you open up your creative side and be able to express yourself a little bit more. Learning watercolor can be such a frustrating and intricate technique, but once you have it down, or even just a slight grasp of it, it becomes so much easier to put yourself into your artwork and create the things that you've always wanted to create. At least it has been that way for myself. I would love to see what we could come up with together as an art community and post some pictures while we do these tutorials. If you have any ideas or any suggestions, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to see some new things from you guys. So the piece that I chose to work on today is called Abstract Seas. It took a little bit to build up the watercolor for the ocean, but once I kind of got the depth that I wanted, it seemed to pull together pretty nicely. Oh my Lanta, and can we talk about the straw technique for just a second? I love laying down that watercolor and blowing on it through a straw just to get those crazy little splashes of color. This is a technique that I want to do in other videos with other projects and stuff, but I really haven't had much of an opportunity to use it as much as I would like. Using that white paint marker to make those shapes of the ocean, I guess you would call them like little shinies, little ripply shinies, oceany thingies, I don't know. That was so relaxing. It took forever. It took forever. It took so much time. It was a lot, but the overall effect that it had in the end was totally worth spending the time doing this. Paint markers, who knew? I'm not sure if I would use the paint marker for a whole lot of other things, but in this case, outlining the waves with it was a really nice touch, and I think it adds a lot to the piece, a lot of detail to something that looks quite simple when you step back and look at it. I'm pleased. So thanks for joining me this week, guys. This has been such a wonderful experience so far. I hope you guys are liking and subscribing and following me here on YouTube. Also, don't forget to follow me at Emmy's Art Stuff on Instagram. I'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, stay creative.